Check out my Context for Kids Bible curriculum books. I have volumes on honor and shame, biblical covenants, ancient social relations, image-bearing, idolatry, and the new creation starting at ages 7 and up, all the way to books for late teens and adults. Each book contains 50 lessons on major Bible context topics. At Context for Kids, I take grown-up scholarly material and I slow it down. I never dumb it down. Available at Amazon.com. Hi, I'm Miss Tyler and welcome to Context for Kids. This is the third part of our series of very short teachings on Matthew 23, and we're going to take a tiny little bit of context every week to kind of give you an idea of the overall context of this very complex chapter, which is one of my favorites because it is so chock full of context. Oh my goodness, that you could just spend a year there and still be learning stuff. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about fake oaths and vows. Oaths. What a word, right? Oaths. Who even made that? So I subtitled this teaching, Let Your Yes Be Yes and Your No Be No, for crying out loud. And you will see why by the end of this teaching. Now, we're going to read from Scripture again this week. And all I can say is, what the heck? Starting in verse 16 of Matthew 23. Woe to you, blind guides. Wow. Who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it's nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold in the temple, he's bound by his oath. You blind fools. For which is greater, the gold or the temple which makes the gold sacred? And if you say, if anyone swears by the altar, it's nothing. But if anyone swears by the gift that's on the altar, he's bound by his oath. You blind men, for which is greater, the gift or the altar which makes the gift sacred? So whoever swears by the altar swears by it and everything in it, and whoever swears by the temple swears by it and by who dwells in it. And whoever swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who sits on it. Oh, man, they probably didn't want to hear that, and I will tell you why. Now, what's an oath and what's a vow? A lot of people think oaths and vows are the same thing, but they're really very different. Now, I don't use the name of God, which is Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in the scripture, and one of the reasons is because, you know what, all of your families are going to pronounce it differently, and I don't want to distract, and so sometimes I'll say the name, sometimes I'll say Adonai, but you pronounce or don't pronounce it just like your parents do, not like I do, all right? Now, an oath, and if you've gone through my second curriculum book, 10 Commandments and the Covenants of Promise, you know all about oath swearing. You guys are experts, but for everyone else, we're going to go over it real quick. Now, an oath is, I swear by the name of Adonai that the testimony I am giving is true. So they would have actually put in Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in there. That's an oath. But a vow is, I promise that I will give this offering to the temple, or I swear in the name of the Lord that I will give this offering in the temple. That's a vow. So an oath is declaring something is true and using God's name as guarantee, and a vow is promising to do something. All right? So they're different. All right, now there's a lot of overlap though. So that wasn't completely and totally the reality, but it's close enough, all right? Now, ancient oaths were sworn using the name of whoever's it is God to guarantee that they weren't lying. Everyone figured that someone who made their God look like a dirty, thieving liar was going to get a cosmic lightning bolt to their butt and die. And like I already said, in 10 Commandments and the Covenants of Promise, we go into it in a lot of detail. Swearing on your God's reputation was serious business. People didn't do it lightly. They thought you could die, all right? And what does the second commandment say? Second, you shall not use the name of the Lord in vain. For anyone who swears falsely in the name of the Lord, he shall not be held guiltless. Like, you ain't getting away with this. So, none of this, kids, none of this swear to God, unless it's true. Don't do it. I'm serious. So, what was the problem? I mean, that's all well and good for pagans. And in the Torah, it says in Deuteronomy 6:13, you shall fear the Lord your God, and you shall serve him, and by his name you shall swear. Meaning, don't you even think about swearing in any other name, bucko. Now, in Nedarim 14b, written hundreds of years later, the statement is made that if one vows by the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, which are the words of Moses handed down by God, if someone swears by the Torah or vows by the Torah, it means nothing. But if one vows by the contents of the Torah, it's binding. Why would someone even bother to swear by the Torah, God's word, if it meant nothing? And how can you swear by the Torah as a whole without swearing by anything in it? It's like it's a game. Not a good game. Not according to Yeshua. Now, Mishnah Shavuot, which was written less than 200 years after Yeshua was crucified and resurrected, if a person swore an oath not to eat and drink, this one's gross, by the way. If you're eating, put down the food, pause this, and swallow what you're eating. I'm serious. If a person swore an oath not to eat or drink anything, okay, and they ate carrion, which is roadkill, or torn animals that have been torn apart by wolves and you just find them out and they're dead, or forbidden insects like tarantulas, or creeping things like mice and stuff. Well, he didn't really violate his oath because those things don't count as food in the Bible. They're forbidden. It's like, in other words, yeah, breaking a commandment made it so that they weren't breaking an oath. And that is in Shavuot 3:4. I guess you can tell I disagree. I don't know about you, but I think this actually makes it worse. It's like your mom and dad telling you not to take a cookie before dinner and you take a piece of cake instead. So you didn't really, not obey them. Although I'm sure your parents' cooking tastes a whole lot better than roadkill. Just saying. Please tell me please tell me you don't know what roadkill tastes like so you can even compare it with your parents' cooking. Okay. Now, swearing by anything else. They even had rulings that said if you swear by things like heaven and earth, that you wouldn't have to make an offering in the temple if you broke your promise. That was Shavuot 4:13. I mean, dang, that is exactly what Yeshua was talking about. After reading a whole bunch of these rulings, I just flat out yelled, oh, for crying out loud, just let your yes be yes and your no be no. Because there was a whole lot more that I did not tell you, and you just do not want to know. So bottom line, we're believers. Our yes should always be yes, and our no should always be no. No tricks, no fingers crossed behind our backs. How would your family even work if you could never trust your mom and dad to keep their promises, or if they were always finding ways to trick you, like saying, oh, well, that promise didn't count because it wasn't a pinky swear, or whatever. We have to be trustworthy because we represent a God who is always trustworthy. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes things don't come up and your mom and dad say, well, we're going to do this, and then just things don't work out or you get grounded. That is not breaking a vow. So don't even go there. Anyway, if you want more information on these crazy false oaths and vows of Matthew 23, check out my teaching, episode 15, the woes, part 4. Blind guides and fools, the maze of oath rules in first century Phariseeism, on my YouTube channel, Tyler Don Rosenquist, or download it on my Podbean channel, characterandcontext.podbean.com. Anyway, thanks for tuning in again. I have missed making these. As always, I love you. I'm praying for you. And I hope you have a wonderful week studying Scripture together as a family. You guys, take care.